I never thought I'd end up staring down the barrel of my own reflection in a police interrogation room mirror. The kind with that one-way glass where cops on the other side sip bad coffee and judge your soul. But there I was, wrists cuffed to the table, the metallic click echoing like the final nail in my coffin. All because of her, Sarah, the woman who'd sworn her life to mine on a Vegas whim, only to carve out my heart with a smile on Christmas Eve. She'd framed me for embezzlement from our joint startup, planted the digital breadcrumbs herself, and watched as the feds dragged me away in front of our entire investor party, her crocodile tears glistening under the twinkling lights of our rooftop soiree.
Lola.
How could you, she gasped, clutching her pearls like some goddamn Southern belle in a Lifetime movie. While the champagne popped and our dreams of Silicon Valley glory shattered like the ornaments she hurled at my retreating back. It wasn't just the arrest that gutted me, it was the way she twisted the knife, whispering to the press the next day that I'd been skimming funds to fuel a secret gambling habit, painting me as the reckless Latino wild card who'd torpedoed our all-American success story.
Me.
Lola Ramirez, the bootstrapped coder from East LA who'd coded our app from scratch in a roach-infested garage, reduced to a tabloid villain overnight. The headline screamed it: Tech darling betrays partner, Christmas heist leaves millions in the red. Friends vanished like smoke from a joint at Coachella. Family back home in Boyle Heights stopped calling after the bail bondsman showed up.
And Sarah?
She played the victim card so masterfully, landing a pity interview on CNBC where she sobbed about rebuilding from the ashes, her blue eyes wide with feigned innocence, already plotting her pivot to some venture capital savior. But here's the hook that keeps me up at night. The one that makes this whole revenge saga feel like a fever dream scripted by Tarantino on a bender. I took the fall for her.
Yeah, you heard that right.
That embezzlement? It was her all along, siphoning cash to fund her coke-fueled weekends with the LA elite. The kind of nights where trust fund bros snort lines off mirrored coffee tables in the hills. I'd discovered the discrepancies months earlier, buried in the code like digital ghosts, but when I confronted her, she gaslit me into silence. You're paranoid, babe, she'd cooed, her breath minty with denial, her fingers tracing my collarbone like we were still in that honeymoon phase. It's just market fluctuations. Trust me. And I did. Because love's a blindfold tighter than any blind trust. So I covered it up, fudged the audits, rerouted the trails back to my own IP address, to protect her, to protect us. What a fool. That Christmas humiliation wasn't just betrayal, it was her erasing me from the narrative, leaving me to rot while she ascended on my corpse. The snow was falling thick that night in New York, blanketing the city in a hush that felt more like a shroud. Our penthouse, our prison, really overlooked Central Park, the kind of view that screams "I've made it" to anyone scraping by in the outer boroughs. The party was in full swing, venture capitalists in bespoke suits nursing $500 bottles of Veuve, influencers snapping selfies with a tree weed decked out in LED lights programmed to pulse like a heartbeat. Sarah had insisted on the extravaganza. To seal the next funding round, she'd said, her laugh tinkling like wind chimes in a hurricane. I was there in my power red dress, the one that hugged my curves like a second skin, playing the role of the fiery co-founder, charming the room with tales of our app's AI-driven matchmaking magic, how it paired soulmates based on neural net quirks. Ironic now that mine had ghosted me. Then it hit. Midway through toasting with a silver-haired whale from Sand Hill Road, my phone buzzed, not the celebratory kind, but the doom scroll alert from our CFO. Lola. What the hell? Feds are en route. Offshore accounts traced to you. The room spun. Champagne turning to vinegar in my gut. Before I could process, the elevator dinged, and in stormed the suits, FBI. All business. Badges flashing like Judgment Day. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth, theatrical as hell, as they read me my rights right there amid the eggnog and fairy lights. Lola Ramirez, you're under arrest for wire fraud and embezzlement. Guests gasped, phones whipped out for the viral moment. And Sarah, God, Sarah, collapsed into the arms of our lawyer, wailing. I trusted her. We built this together. As they zip-tied my wrists, she leaned in close, her lips brushing my ear. Merry Christmas.
Bitch.
This is for doubting me. They hauled me down in the service elevator, past the kitchen staff, who'd once snuck me tamales from their abuela's recipe, past the doorman, who tipped his hat like I was just another tenant skipping out on rent. The squad car ride to the field office was a blur of sodium lights and Sarah's perfume clinging to my skin like a curse. Interrogation lasted till dawn. The agents, a grizzled vet named Kowalski and his rookie sidekick with a man bun, hammering me with printouts of transactions I never touched. Look, MS. Ramirez.
We know you did it.
Your login. Your timestamps. Your partner's got the paper trail clean as a whistle. I laughed then, a hollow bark that echoed off the cinderblock walls.
Clean?
She'd scrubbed it herself. The viper. But I said nothing about her. Not yet. Loyalty's a slow poison, and mine was still pumping through my veins. Bail was a joke, $2 million. Courtesy of the life we'd built on smoke and mirrors. Mom wired what she could from her waitress tips, but it wasn't enough. I spent Christmas morning in a holding cell, the fluorescent buzz, my only carol, picking at a tray of mystery meat while visions of Sarah's sugar plums danced in my head.
She, meanwhile,
was trending on Twitter, Sarah Strong, with think pieces hailing her resilience, her unbreakable spirit in the face of betrayal. By afternoon, she'd posted a tear-streaked selfie from the penthouse balcony, grateful for the love pouring in. Rebuilding starts now. Broken heart snowflake, the comments were a deluge of blue-check empathy. You're a queen. Sarah. Slay that comeback. Not one mentioned me. The architect of their fairy tale turned Frankenstein's monster. Released on my own recognizance 2 days later, thanks to a bleeding heart judge who saw first-time offender stamped on my immigrant hustle, I slumped back to the city like a stray dog. The penthouse was locked. My key deactivated. A post-it from Sarah taped to the door. Change the locks. Lawyer's orders. Don't contact me.
Classy.
I crashed at a Fleabag motel in Hell's Kitchen. The kind where the walls throb with neighbors' arguments and the minibars just a dream. That's when the real unraveling began. Sleepless nights poring over our shared drive backups I'd smuggled onto a thumb drive, piecing together the puzzle she'd shattered. There it was, her logins to the dummy accounts, timestamps syncing with her girls' trips to Miami, the coke residue on her credit card statements, funneled through our payroll. And the kicker, an encrypted folder labeled contingency with dossiers on me, my green card vulnerabilities, my family's deportation scares, notes on how to neutralize if I ever sniffed too close. Rage isn't hot, it's cold, a frostbite creeping into your bones until you're numb enough to act. I started small, anonymous tips to the IRS about her offshore shells, watching from burner accounts as her tax audits piled up like snowdrifts. But that was appetizer shit. The main course? Her balance dropping to zero. The kind of zero that echoes through Wall Street like a gunshot. Sarah's empire was built on our app. HeartSync. The darling of the dating world, $50 million valuation. investors salivating for the IPO. She'd positioned herself as the face, the relatable blonde bombshell with a TED Talk on love in the algorithm age.
Me?
The silent engine, the code witch in the background. Without me, it was lipstick on a server farm. By New Year's, I was deep in the dark web, trading favors with ghost coders in Eastern Europe, the ones who moonlight as ethical hackers until the price is right. You want her dry? My contact, a chain-smoking Serb named Victor, rasped over encrypted voice. We bleed her servers, reroute funds to dead drops. But it's war. Lola. She fights back. You burn too. I didn't care. War it was. The plan crystallized over stale diner coffee, infiltrate HeartSync's backend, where I'd buried my own kill switch years ago, a dormant virus keyed to my biometrics, designed as a failsafe against corporate raiders. Irony? I'd coded it to protect us. Now it'd be our apocalypse. First strike, Valentine's Day. Poetic justice. While Sarah schmoozed at a gala in the Hamptons, flashing her single and thriving vibe to the tabloids, I activated Phase 1. A subtle glitch in the app, matches glitching into hate scrolls, users doxing each other in rage-fueled chats. Reviews tanked, HeartSync stole my soul and my data. Uninstalls spiked 30%. Investors whispered, her stock in the company dipped. She blamed rogue updates, fired the dev team, my ghost team.
Now.
But the damage festered like an untreated STD. She fought dirty. As expected. Leaks hit the press. Forged emails from me, begging for one last chance laced with threats. Lola's unhinged. The headlines purred. Stalking her ex-partner amid fraud trial. My lawyer quit. My therapist suggested meds. But I was steps ahead. Holed up in a Queen's walk-up with blackout curtains and a mini fridge of Red Bull. Phase 2. The money drain. HeartSync's revenue stream, premium subs, ad partnerships, funneled through Stripe and PayPal gateways I'd backdoored myself. One midnight command. And poof, transactions rerouted to a labyrinth of crypto wallets, tumbling through mixers until they vanished into the ether. $1.2 million gone by dawn. Her CFO called an emergency board meeting. She screamed at underlings, her Botox mass cracking under the strain. That's when the call started. Late-night voicemails. Her voice slurred with whine and desperation. Lola, I know it's you.
Stop this.
We can talk.
Click.
Then sweeter. Baby, I miss you. It was a mistake. Come home. Delete. Finally. Venom. You crazy spick. I'll bury you. Save for the trial. She was unraveling. Live on LinkedIn. Posting manic updates about resilience in crisis, but the followers dwindled. Her Hamptons weekends turned to solitary spins on Pelotons. Her designer wardrobe pawned for legal fees. The woman who'd humiliated me under the mistletoe was now begging mutuals for loans. Her Insta stories a carousel of forced smiles over empty wine glasses. I watched it all from afar, a digital voyeur in the shadows of the net. Part of me thrilled at the symmetry, her balance zeroed out, just like she'd zeroed my life. But the yum crept in. The American dream's underbelly. Was this justice or just another cycle of hurt? Mom called from LA, her voice thick with worry. Mija.
Venganza es un plato frío, pero no vale tu alma.
Revenge is a cold dish, but it don't cost your soul. Maybe. The trial loomed in March. My arraignment a circus of flashbulbs and Sarah's testimony. Her perched on the stand like a falcon. Talons out. She was obsessed. Your honor. Manipulative. I had to protect the company. The jury ate it up. White-collar crimes got that halo of intrigue, especially when the victim looks like she stepped off a Pinterest board. But I had aces. Victor delivered the crown jewel, Sarah's contingency folder, decrypted and dripping with dirt. Screenshots of her snorting rails off investor knees at Davos afterparties, wire transfers to a Miami dealer masked as consulting fees. And the real gut punch. Our Vegas wedding?
A sham.
She'd married me for the green card boost. Her immigration lawyer's notes time-stamped weeks before the chapel bells. Lola's clean record. U.S. Birth. Perfect cover. I'd gambled my heart on a con. Armed with it, I flipped the script. My public defender, a chain-smoking bulldog named Ruiz, leaked select files to a hungry reporter at The Intercept. Boom. Tech founder's dark secret, embezzlement cover-up ties to drug ring. Sarah's world imploded. Subpoenas flew. Her board ousted her in a 4 a.m. Zoom vote. The app hemorrhaged users. Valuation cratered to junk bonds. She holed up in the penthouse. Curtains drawn. Uber Eats her only visitor. While I prepped for my hearing. The charges morphing from felony to misdemeanor as her lies unraveled thread by thread. The night before the gavel dropped, she showed at my motel door, uninvited, unhinged, rain-soaked in a Burberry trench that hung like defeat. Lola, she rasped, eyes wild, mascara rivers down her cheeks. You win. It's over.
Just.
Tell me why. I let her in, the room's stale air thickening with our history. We sat on the sagging bed, her recounting the spiral, the coke that started as networking, the paranoia that made her frame me, the love that twisted into possession. I did it to keep you, she whispered, hand on my knee. Without the company, we'd have nothing. I laughed, bitter as black coffee. You took everything.
Sarah.
My name. My future. For what? A high. She leaned in then, lips parting like old times. And for a heartbeat. I wavered. The pull of what we'd been. The American lie of second chances. Our kiss was salt and ruin. Tongues tasting of betrayal and bourbon. But as her fingers fumbled with my shirt, I pulled the trigger. Not a gun. Victor's final gift. A USB with the full drain code. Plugged into her phone while she dozed in post-coital haze. It executed. Every lingering account. Every hidden nest egg. Siphoned to zero. Her Venmo. Her Roth IRA. Even the trust fund from Daddy's divorce settlement. $8.4 million evaporated in a cascade of blockchain blinks. She woke screaming at 6 a.m., app notifications blaring like alarms. Insufficient funds. Account frozen. Fraud alert. I was already dressed, coffee in hand, watching her scramble naked across the carpet. Phone clutched like a lifeline. What did you do? She shrieked, dialing her banker. Then her dealer. Then 911 in a frenzy. You bitch. I'll sue. But the line went dead. Carriers cut off for non-payment. Her eyes met mine. Not with hate, but a mirror of my own emptiness, two hollow shells in a neon-lit tomb. I left her there, door clicking shut on our wreckage. Stepping into the Manhattan dawn where the city chewed up dreamers and spat out husks. The trial? Dismissed with prejudice. Her perjury charges pending. But justice in America ain't poetic, it's paperwork. Sarah vanished into rehab or rehab-adjacent exile. Whispers of a tell-all book that never materialized.
Me?
I relocated to Austin, coding indie apps under a pseudonym. The scar tissue my new armor. Mom was right. Revenge cooled the fire but left ashes. Was I the hero or the villain? Hell if I know. That's the twist. They're the same in this funhouse mirror we call success. And on quiet Christmas Eves, when the snow falls soft on 6th Street, I raise a glass to the zero that set me free. Or damned me forever. Your call. As the new year dragged its hungover carcass into February, I found myself unraveling in ways even Sarah's betrayal couldn't touch. The motel room became my war room, walls papered with printouts of transaction logs, red string connecting dots like some budget X-Files setup. I'd always been the planner, Lola the logical. They called me at Stanford, the girl who debugged group projects while sorority sisters pre-gamed for frat row. But this was code without a compiler. Emotions compiling errors left and right. Nights blurred into code binges. Fingers flying over a battered MacBook, chasing ghosts in the machine. Victor checked in via Signal. You close? Comrade? Her firewalls are paper now. Stress makes her sloppy.
Sloppy. Yeah.
That's Sarah in a nutshell. All gloss. No grit. Flashback to how we met. Because every revenge tale needs origin story. Right? Summer 18. TechCrunch disrupt in San Francisco. The air thick with VC sweat and overpriced kale smoothies. I was pitching heartsink in a windowless conference room, nerves jangling like loose change, when she sauntered in late, blonde waves. Lululemon, everything. The kind of effortless hot that screams Hampton Summers and Harvard MBAs. Sorry. Traffic from the airport, she drawled, southern lilt masking her Jersey roots. Sliding into the seat next to mine, like she owned the pitch deck. Turns out, she did. Sarah Kensington. Fresh off a McKinsey stint, consulting for startups, but really hunting for her ticket to the big leagues. Our eyes locked during Q&A, hers sparkling with that predatory gleam. And post-pitch, over IPAs at the afterparty, she whispered, "You're Algo's genius. But you need a face. Let me be it." We were fire and algorithm from jump. She handled the schmoozing, charming bros at Y Combinator demos, sealing deals with a wink and a white paper while I slaved in the code cave, optimizing neural nets till my eyes bled pixels. Vegas happened 3 months in, drunk on success and sake bombs. Eloping in a neon chapel with Elvis crooning our vows. Till death do us code, I joked, signing the certificate with a flourish. She laughed, that throaty sound that hooked me deeper than any line of Python. But cracks showed early, her late nights at networking events. The nosebleeds she blamed on dry office air, the way she'd snap if I audited the books too close. Trust issues? Lola? That's so. Blue collar. The first big secret dropped in October. Pre-Christmas madness. Logging into our AWS dashboard late one night, insomnia's my old friend, I spotted anomalies. Microtransfers to Cayman shells, disguised as beta testing refunds, amounts small at first. $5,000 here, $10,000 there, but snowballing. Heartsink was cash positive. Series B flush. So, why the bleed? I cross-referenced with her calendar. Client dinner. Miami synced perfectly with a $25,000 wire. Confrontation came over takeout pad thai in the penthouse. Rain lashing the windows like accusations. Sarah, this looks bad. Like, felony bad. Her face morphed, instantly from lover to lawyer, eyes narrowing, voice dropping octaves. You're seeing things. It's nothing.
Drop it.
Lola, or you'll tank us both. I dropped it. For her. Rewrote the logs. Buried the trails under layers of encryption I'd invented myself, a digital sleight of hand to shield our baby from prying SEC eyes. I got this, I told myself, popping an Ambien to drown the guilt. But doubt festered. A low-grade fever. Then Christmas Eve sealed it. The party invite list ballooned to 200. Sarah micromanaged every detail. From the custom cocktail napkins, Sync Your Heart with Mine, to the string quartet playing ironic carols. I begged off early, citing a migraine. But really, I was digging deeper, hacking her personal iCloud from our shared bedroom Wi-Fi. Heart pounding as files unlocked. There, photos from Miami. Her lines of white powder arrayed like fallen soldiers on a yacht deck. Arms around faceless finance dudes. Receipts for gifts that were bribes. And the folder, Lola Leverage, with my SSN. My mom's address in LA. Notes on exploiting immigrant status for sympathy plea if needed. She'd been building an exit strategy, framing me as the fall guy from the start. Rage hit like a server crash. But I swallowed it. Rejoined the party with a smile plastered on. Clinking glasses till the feds crashed the gate.
Now.
Months later, that swallow turned to venom. Victor's crew, a ragtag of Belarusian script kiddies and Ukrainian ex-FSB type, fed me intel. Sarah's new boyfriend, a sleazy podcaster named Chad with a man bun and a Patreon for disrupting masculinity. He was her rebound armor, parading her at Coachella afterparties where she posed with influencers. Boss babe hashtags masking the panic. But the glitches I'd seeded were biting. Users suing for data breaches. Apple pulling the app from stores pending review. Her valuation nosedived 40%. Emergency funding rounds flopped as backers ghosted. Phase 2 execution was surgical. At 2:17 a.m. On the 14th Valentine's, because fuck romance, I SSH'd into the master server from a VPN in Bucharest. The kill switch hummed to life. A beautiful beast of code I'd named Heartbeat. Ironic now. It started subtle. Ad revenues misdirected to ghost vendors. Sub fees refunded en masse with glitch apologies from a spoofed admin account. By sunrise, $1.20 mil evaporated. Sarah's morning meeting with the board? A bloodbath. Per Victor's tap on her Zoom. This is sabotage. Fire everyone, she shrieked, hurling a Louboutin at the screen. Chad comforted her on Insta Live later, his arm around her shoulders. My girl's a fighter. Haters gonna hate.
Hate? Nah.
This was calculus. But the pushback came swift. By week's end, my doxing hit. Anonymous Reddit threads linking my IP to the hacks. Lola the looter strikes back. Cops knocked on the motel door at dawn. Badges out. But no warrant, just a friendly warning from a detective with Sarah's lipstick on his collar. MS. Kensington's worried about you.
Ma'am.
Says you're unstable. Get help. I play dumb. Latina charm on full. Officer. I'm just trying to clear my name. She's the one with the skeletons. He left. But the message lingered. She was circling. Claws extended. That's when the doubt crept hardest. Was I becoming her? The Muni mummer? Pulling strings from the dark? Mom's calls ramped up. Her rosary beads clicking in the background. Lola.
Dios no quiere esto. Perdóname.
But come home. Home. LA felt like a lifetime ago. Tacos al pastor from the truck on Whittier. Coding in the community center with kids who dreamed bigger than their zip code allowed. I'd clawed to New York for this, to mirror the monster who'd chewed me up, but then a news alert pinged. Sarah on Fox Business. Teary-eyed. My ex is destroying everything we built. It's personal. The Chirin. From jailbird to cyber terrorist? Public opinion swung. Justice for Sarah trended. Petitions for my rear circulating. I doubled down. Phase 3. The personal gut punch. Using her leaked passwords sloppy. As Victor said, I accessed her Robinhood account, the crypto plays she'd bragged about at dinner parties. A few algorithmic trades, shorts on meme stocks she'd hyped, wiped $300,000 overnight. Her Venmo history? Drained dry. Payments to yoga instructors and spin classes bouncing like bad checks. She posted a cryptic story. When life ices you out, melt it with fire. Fire, but the fire was mine. And it burned hot. By spring, the tension coiled like a spring in a trap. My trial date loomed, April 15th. Tax day. Fitting for our fiscal fuckery. Sarah's lawyers deposed me early. A sterile conference room in Midtown. Her across the table in Chanel. Cool as a cucumber. Lola. This ends now, she murmured when the suits stepped out for coffee. Drop the hacks, and I'll recant. We can. Start over. Her hand on mine. Electric. Treacherous. I yanked away. Start over? You married me for a visa. Sarah. Framed me for your highs. This isn't love, it's ledger. She flinched, then smiled, that weaponized curve. Everyone's got dirt. Babe. Yours is just spicier. The slur hung. Casual racism she'd always couched in jokes. I lunged, but security burst in. Outside, rain-slick streets mirrored my mood. Victor messaged, final phase ready. Pull trigger. Fingers hovered over enter. Pull. The pull was inevitable. A gravitational suck toward the event horizon of payback. April 10th. 5 days pre-trial. I holed up in a new safe house, a Brooklyn brownstone sublet from a crypto nomad. Walls lined with Faraday cages to block signals. The air humming with white noise generators. Victor's final payload arrived via dead drop, a Raspberry Pi loaded with the Apex Predator code. Dubbed Zero Sum. It wasn't just a drain. It was Armageddon for her digital empire. This ends her, he typed. All accounts. All assets. Linked chains to oblivion. But Lola. No takebacks. Feds trace it. You swim with fishes in Hudson. Swim? I drown first. Sleepless. I paced the creaky floors. Ghosts of U.S. haunting. Lazy Sundays in the penthouse. Her head on my chest. Murmuring about world domination. You and me against the algorithms. Lies. All of it. But the ache lingered. A phantom limb I couldn't code away. By midnight, resolve hardened. I initiated. Zero Sum wormed through HeartSync's API. A Trojan in sheep's clothing. Feasting on linked fintechs. Stripe integrations first, premium tiers refunded retroactively. $2 mill back to users in a goodwill gesture from her CEO alias. Then PayPal. Ad dollars diverted to bogus charities I'd set up in her name. Sarah's Second Chances Fund. Ironic as hell. Dawn broke with chaos. Her phone, tapped via a planted AirTag in her Birkin, exploded with alerts. Overdraft. Minus $47,000. Fraud detected. Account suspended. Emergency. Contact support. I imagined her in the penthouse. Silk robe askew. Scrolling in panic as the board's email dinged. Ousting vote. 7-2. Effective immediately. Chad bailed that afternoon. His podcast episode betrayed by a boss babe dropping hot, spilling tea on her erratic moods. Love ya, Sar. But this sinking ship. Her response? A string of deleted voicemails to me, escalating from pleas to profanities. You fucking ruin everything. I'll expose you, your mom's wetback status. Your fake-ass degree. Expose? Honey. The barrel was already scraped. Ruiz. My PD. Called mid-melt. Lola. The prosecutor's folding. Sarah's perjuries on blast. Intercept piece went nuclear. Charges downgraded to probation. Maybe community service. Victory tasted like ash. Probation? For taking her fall? But the real high was her zeroing out live. By evening, her Instagram went dark. Last post a black square captioned, "Silence is the new roar." Whispers from VCs, she'd pawned her engagement ring, fake cubic zirconia. Who'd known? For $5,000. Enough for a one-way to her sisters in Atlanta. The trial morning arrived crisp. Cherry blossoms mocking the rot. Federal courthouse in Foley Square. Marble halls echoing with justice's hollow ring. Sarah took the stand first. A ghost of her former self, hair limp, foundation caking hollow cheeks. Voice cracking on oath. I believed in Lola. But the evidence. Lies crumbled under cross. Ruiz. Smelling blood. Dropped the folder bombs. MS. Kensington. Care to explain these transfers to Consult Miami LLC, a front for narcotics? Gasps rippled. Her eyes darted to me. Back row. Stone-faced.
That's
Forged. But the jury, a mix of Brooklyn cynics and Wall Street strivers, smelled bullshit. Her lawyer objected till hoarse. Judge banged gavel like a headache. My turn. The box felt like a confessional. Would polish smooth from 1,000 sob stories. Your Honor. I built HeartSync from nothing, late nights. Ramen budgets. Sarah. She was the spark. But when the fire turned, she burned me to save herself. I detailed the cover-up. The framed logs. Voice study as C++ syntax. No tears. Latinas don't get the weepy edit in court. The gallery murmured. A juror. A middle-aged black woman with braids. Nodded faint. Closing arguments dragged. Prosecution fumbling. Defense crowing. Verdict? Not guilty. All counts. Cheers from my corner, Ruiz high-fiving. Mom's FaceTime beaming tears from LA. But as I exited, flashbolts popping, Sarah cornered me in the hall, flanked by bailiffs. Lola, she hissed. Close enough for her Chanel no. 5 to choke me. You think this ends it? I know about the hacks. Zero sum? Cute name. Feds are building a case, cybercrime. Wire fraud. You'll rot. Her smile twisted. Victory and defeat. And your little Eastern pals? Interpol's got their scent. Ice water in veins. Victor? Compromised? I played cool. Pot.
kettle.
Sarah. Your coke logs are public now. Enjoy Riker's couture. She laughed.
Bitter.
We both lose.
Babe.
That's the American way. She was right. In that twisted yin-yang. Post-verdict. I ghosted to Austin. SXSW's buzz a bomb. Tech scene hungry for redemption arcs. Freelanced under LR. Code. Building indie tools. Privacy apps for the surveilled. Irony my middle name. Mom joined eventually. Her tamale empire booming from a food truck parked outside my loft. Life normalized. Scars fading to stories over margaritas. But Sarah's shadow loomed. Whispers of her Atlanta exile, waitressing at a Waffle House, Chad suing for emotional distress, a memoir pitch rejected by every agent in town. Zero balance. Zero mercy. Then the twist, the one that flips the script and leaves you arguing in comment sections. Late June. Encrypted email pings. Not Victor, but her.
Lola.
Read attached. Then decide. File opens, scans of my old Stanford transcripts. Forged Fs in calc. Bought with cash from a study abroad scam I'd run freshman year to fund mom's chemo.
How?
She dug. During our honeymoon phase. Filed it away for leverage. We all have secrets, the note reads. I framed you because you were clean, too clean. But pull this thread, and your house of cards falls. Truce?
Meet me.
Neutral ground. July 4th. Coney Island. No cops. Fireworks or finale. I booked the Bolt bus. Gut churning. Coney Boardwalk at dusk. Salt air thick. Ferris wheel groaning like regrets. She waited by the cyclone. In cutoffs and a Mets tee. Looking. Human. No makeup. Hair in a ponytail. Clutching a Nathan's dog like normalcy. Lola. Hug awkward. Electric. We walked the planks. Waves crashing judgment below. I hated you, she admitted. Voice small. The drugs. It started small. Networking bullshit. Then control slipped. Framing you?
Panic.
But the marriage?
Real.
At first. Lies. Truth. Her eyes. Blue as a bad bet. Search mine. Why now? I pressed. Cyclone rumbling overhead. Truce? After zeroing you out. She stopped. Facing the surf. Because we're the same. Lola. Hustlers in a rigged game. You took my empire. I take yours if pushed. But alone? We're nothing. Partner up again, clean slate. New app. Or walk. And we both burn. Offer hung. Fireworks blooming red, white, blue. The American dream exploding in false glory. I wavered. Her hand slipped into mine.
Warm.
Familiar. Flash of Vegas. Pad Thai nights. The spark before the short. But then, Victor's warning echoed. She fights back. You burn. Was this redemption or round two? The boardwalk blurred. Choice crystallized. Truce, I said, squeezing back. Lies? Maybe. As we turned toward the subway, her phone buzzed, unknown number. She glanced.
Paled.
Feds?
I asked.
She pocketed it. Old debt. Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Back in Austin. I ghosted her reply. But the seed planted. Was I suckered again? Or smarter? Playing long game? Mom spotted it over breakfast. Mija. Love's not a ledger. Burn it or build on it. Build? On what? Ashes? The debate rages in my head. Midnight scrolls through ethics forums. Is revenge ever justice? Your move. Reader. Hero? Villain? Or just another cog in the machine? Grinding toward zero. July 4th faded into a humid haze. Coney salt sticking to my skin like unfinished code. Sarah's offer looped in my brain, a siren song of second acts. The kind Hollywood petals to broken dreamers. Back in Austin. The loft felt too big. Mom's laughter from the kitchen, a reminder of stakes higher than startups. I dove into work, polishing a new project, ShadowSync, an anti-surveillance tool for activists. Irony, my therapy. Beta testers raved, ACLU scouts sniffing for acquisition, but nights brought her phantom. That hand in mine. The almost truce. Victor surfaced mid-July. Voice gravel over tour. Lola. You're blonde? She's talking. To feds. To my rivals. Bait.
Bait.
The words slithered.
Cold.
How bad? Bad enough. Pulled strings, old McKinsey connects. They're tracing zero-sum to you, not her. Walk away. Or we escalate. Escalate? I'd already zeroed her world. But doubt not. Was the Coney meet a setup? Her old debt buzz a signal to hunters? I ghosted her texts. Miss you already. Let's code. Deleting threads like digital sins. August scorched Texas. Monsoons mirroring my mood. Mom's truck thrived. Her mole poblano drawing lines of tech bros craving authentic. Proud of you. Mija, she'd say, wiping flower hands. But that woman's poison. Poison. Yeah. Then the hammer. Subpoena in my P.O. box. Cyber Division. Alleging ongoing interference in HeartSync's bankruptcy. Sarah's fingerprints? Smudged. But there, affidavit swearing I'd confessed the hacks during our reconciliation. Lies layered on lies. Ruiz scrambled. Plausible deniability. Lola. But if they tie the code. Trial 2 loomed. September. The machine grinding anew. Panic mode. I rallied Victor's ghosts, fortifying digital bunkers, laundering traces through new proxies. But the real war was internal. Flashes of her vulnerability at Coney. The crack in her armor. Was it act? Or glimpse of the girl I'd loved? Before the highs hollowed her? Ethics podcasts became obsession. Revenge porn for the soul. Does it heal or haunt? Listeners debated. I journaled furious pros/cons. Pages filling with forgive equals weak versus hate equals cage. Labor Day weekend. Twist detonated. Anonymous drop at the loft. Manila envelope. No return. Inside, printouts of Sarah's debts. Not coke. But worse. Emails to a PI firm. Commissioning dirt on me post-framing. Psych evals forged to paint me suicidal. Whispers to my VC contacts about instability. And the gut wrencher. Ultrasound pics. Dated last spring. Our miracle, scrawled in her hand. Miscarriage note attached. Clinic receipt from March, pre-trial. She'd lost it during stress. Blamed me in therapy transcripts. Lola's chaos took our baby. Rage?
Nah.
Devastation, tsunami slow. Drowning doubt. She'd weaponized loss. The ultimate lurch.
Call? No.
I drove to the airport. Red eye to JFK. Rain sheeting windshields like tears. Brooklyn safe house called. Confrontation brewed. She answered the buzzer. Eyes widening at the door cam. Lola? What? I shoved in. Envelope thrust like accusation. Explain. Penthouse a shell. Furniture gone. Echoes off bare walls. She sank to the floor. Photos spilling. It was real, she sobbed.
Raw.
IVF.
Secret.
Your code stressed me. The framing. I spiraled. Lost it alone. Hating you. The PI? To hurt back. Truth? Or Oscar bait? I knelt. World tilting. Truce was lie. Half, she admitted. Feds leaned. I flipped for immunity. But the baby. That was us. Hours blurred. Confessions over boxed wine. Her detailing the void. Coke as crutch. Framing as survival. spilling the cover-up guilt, the love that lingered like malware. Dawn crept. Hudson Gray. What now? I whispered. She smiled.
Faint.
Zero us both? Or rebuild? Choice fractured. Feds knocked noon. Warrant for her arrest. Perjury and conspiracy. She went quiet. Cuffs clicking ironic echo of Christmas. You're doing? Bailiffs hauled. She glanced back. Write the book. Lola. Make me the villain. Or hero. Door shut. Back in Austin. Charges stuck, hers. Not mine. Shadow Sync sold for 7 figures. Mom's truck franchised. I wrote. Not memoir. But code. Apps for the framed. The fallen. Christmas 26. Snow rare in Texas. But it fell soft. I raised a tamale to ghosts, Sarah. Paroled early for cooperation. Vanished to obscurity.
Baby?
Unborn footnote. Justice? Debatable. Reader's DM. You went too far. She deserved it. Split down middle. Like America, no winners. Just survivors tallying scars. Zero balance?
Nah.
We all start there. Hustling up. The thrills in the climb, or the crash. Yours to judge.